And thank you all for joining us here tonight as we are ready to get underway for the victory lap here. I am James Boss. Joined alongside me is Shane Tinney. Shane, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good tonight. Had a good day. Had a good day of school. How you feeling?
You know, so it was a Thursday. It was a better Thursday than most Thursdays, so I will give it that.
It's almost Friday.
Almost.
We're almost
getting
there.
very close. A few hours away. Yeah. But before we get into Friday, let's have some fun here tonight and kick it off with the Yankees getting bounced out of the ALCS. Shane, how are you feeling?
So not only did we get bounced, we got swept by the enemy number one, Houston Astros, who in the last 6 seasons, we have been eliminated by them 3 times. It's just, I think, of course, it sucks getting swept to them and everything, and we're out of the playoffs after the historic start to the season that we had. I mean, I remember they were talking about us winning 120 games at one point early on. But I think now the focus immediately switches to the Aaron Judge sweepstakes. And where is he going to go? I think that's almost like a bigger point of concern because he's made it clear he wants to stay as a Yankee. So, yeah, I think within the next few weeks and all free agency long, that's gonna where we'll be paying attention to.
Where do you think he's gonna go? Because I agree. I don't think the Yankees don't matter anymore. The only thing that matters about them is the Aaron Judge sweepstakes.
Yep.
But where do you think he's going?
I think he's gonna stay. I hope he's gonna stay. Like I said, he's made it clear he wants to remain a Yankee. He's been very vocal about that. We see him wearing the hoodies and the T-shirts that say like New York Forever on it, and I think he belongs as a Yankee. So I hope he stays. I know the Giants are interested in him, and probably every team in the league is going to be interested if they're able to pay him. He just had that kind of season, and he's just that guy. So I hope he stays, and I think he will. I'm gonna speak it into existence.
I mean, I would be a little worried about him staying because, I mean, the last game that he played for the New York Yankees, he was getting booed.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's certainly a great way to keep your franchise guy around. So
that's a very good point, I think. And, the fans, I mean, all the stereotypes about New York fans are all true. I mean, we saw it. We were at a game.
We were.
But it's like, man, we're going to boo Aaron Judge?
Yeah.
Of all guys?
Boo the guy that you guys love. Boo the only reason that you guys were even playing in that game. I mean, sure, he was terrible in the playoffs.
He was. He really was. I mean, he was the guy for us all year long, and then come postseason time, he's batting like in the single digits.
Yeah.
Like the 100s.
I mean, he was
whatever.
below 100 for most of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was awful, and I loved it.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, like, come on, Yankees fans. Like, we're not booing Aaron Judge.
Here? What are we doing?
We're not doing
here?
that.
This is your guy. This is the greatest player you've had in a while.
Yep.
And y'all are booing him, like, hard. Like, being mean to this guy that you shouldn't ever be mean to. You're supposed to make him want to stay there. How is booing him making him want to stay?
I agree. I don't associate myself with those types of Yankees fans. But, yeah, I mean, you're right. He's probably thinking, hearing these boos, like, oh, like, I am, like, he's probably like, me? Of all, like, me you're booing? Like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to see him in the Red Sox. Oh, he's going to look so good in Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Can you even think of a better fit? They'd love him there. Where would they would never boo him if he played in Boston.
They probably wouldn't. You're probably right.
Yeah, they would embrace him with open arms.
We're not comparing, obviously, the skill set of Joey Gallo to Aaron Judge, but, like, we saw it with Joey Gallo, too. Like, remember what he said with the Yankees in the city of New York?
Yeah, he said that they were so mean to him, he was afraid to leave his house. And then he went to L.A., and everybody loved him.
Yeah.
Even though he was terrible, because, we're nice people. And that's what we are.
Yeah.
We're very nice people.
Yeah, well, I'm glad Joey Gallo found a new home with the Dodgers.
I wish he had more playing time.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You wish the Dodgers had more playing time too.
Yes, I really do. I'll get you a hat. I'll get you your hat eventually.
Yeah.
But moving past the Yankees to the team that beat them, the World Series is starting soon. The Phillies are playing the Astros, and I mean, I feel like it's fairly obvious who should win.
Yep.
But who do we think will win? Do you think the Phillies even have a chance?
I mean, listen, I'm rooting for the Phillies. Like, obviously, like, how can you root for the Astros, especially, like, coming from, like, being a Yankees fan, like, you know, but, looking at the Astros, watching these games, they're really, really good. I think they have more depth. They're more experienced in the playoffs over these last few years. And even with Altuve starting the postseason, like, 0 for 25, they still were winning, and they still swept the Yankees. So I think the Astros are the better team. So, yeah, I'll say Astros in 6.
Astros in 6.
Astros in 6.
Astros in 3.
Astros in 3?
Yeah. I mean, the Phillies are just going to give up halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no chance. The Astros are going to kill them. It's going to be ugly.
No chance at all?
It's going to be a massacre.
Not even Bryce Harper is not going to give him a fighting chance?
I love Bryce Harper, but he ain't hitting. He ain't hitting these guys. I mean, the Phillies are dead. I'm sorry. It was a great run. You guys looked
Good for
incredible.
them.
The Phillies are dead. It's all Astros from here on out. No question in my mind. I mean, Justin Verlander might throw a no-hitter. Everybody's been dogging him all playoffs because they say he can't pitch in the playoffs anymore. I mean, we saw him against the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
We saw him dice up the Yankees. He's going to dice up the Phillies even harder. Christian Javier is an absolute monster for Houston. And, I mean, Framber Valdez had, like, a million straight quality starts. This guy's unreal. There's no chance in any world in which the Phillies even win a game against the Astros. I mean, I legitimately think this is going to be a sweep. I thought the Astros Yankees was going to be a sweep. I think this series is going to be a sweep. I don't think the Astros are losing a single game in the entire playoffs. They're just that good.
They are, yeah, they are, which hurts even more. Like, but I don't know if the Phillies can pull this out though. Which I mean, like we're saying, we know how good the Astros are. That would be great for them because they are definitely like the underdogs coming into this series, clearly. But I mean, I think the Astros are just too good. I think, yeah, I said Astros in 6. It could be in 5 or even a sweep, but I'll stick with Astros in 6 though. We'll see how it plays out.
And we're gonna go from one thing that's really good to one thing that's really not good. The Los Angeles Lakers. Shane, I know you got some takes here. What's wrong?
They can't shoot. They can't play defense. They are 0-4. And here's a stat. No team has shot under 41% for a full season since the 2014-15 Sixers. Do you remember that team? The team that was built to tank on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
They can't shoot. They are, like, historically bad from 3. And we saw it last night. We were watching them play the
Hey, that was their best 3-point shooting game all year. They shot 26% from the field.
Yeah, 26. I heard
26.
I heard Pat Bev say, "Oh, we're improving," which okay, sure.
I mean, you're improving. You went from a dump to a booger. Why are you congratulating yourself over this? You guys are terrible. They're so bad. That game last night was one of the hardest things I've ever had to watch. It's just they're such an abysmal franchise. You said it yourself. They're old, they're slow, they can't shoot, they can't play defense. What are we doing here, honestly?
Yeah, I mean, like, LeBron looks good. I mean,
No, he doesn't. LeBron put up the emptiest good game I have ever seen in my entire life.
That's him. He always does that.
Yeah, but I don't care. He didn't put up numbers until the game was over because he scored 9 points in the first 3 quarters, and by the time he was scoring, it was over. They were down. They were chasing 15 going into the fourth, and okay, LeBron, you scored like 15 points in the fourth quarter. I don't care. You're the reason. Your awful play, you're hucking up threes that have no hope of going in, is the reason this team is always trailing. So I don't care how good of a fourth quarter you have if you still end up losing by 20.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to acknowledge this man is in his 20th season. He's 37, almost 38 years old.
Yeah, and he's the reason they suck.
I don't know if it's him on the court or like. Because we know Russ is there because of him. Like, it's pretty clear like he pulls for that. I remember Magic Johnson saying, like, he said, I thought we had the DeRozan trade done.
Yep.
And then here, this is the thing now, too. You have Russ, who it's been reported that he wants out of L.A., I think, according to Stephen A. Smith. He's making $47 million this year. which team is going to take that?
Nobody is going to take that. You'll have to give up. I mean, you'll have to give up Russ and a first just to get rid of him. Yeah. Honestly.
And what are you getting back for him?
Nothing.
Because, maybe Russ, 5 to 6 years ago, sure. But the production he's putting up this year and even last season with the Lakers, he's not even close to worth $47 million.
He is terrible at this point in his career. He hurts the team more than he helps them whenever he's on the floor. He can't shoot. He can't shoot, and he turns the ball over, and he doesn't play defense. He's a black hole on the floor. He's so bad for this team because he is the embodiment of what is wrong with them. Really, that's what he is. He can't shoot. He's old, and he can't play defense. Granted, he's faster than most of the team, but what good is he? What good is that when you can't do anything with it?
Yeah, and I think J.J. Redick pointed this out during the game last night. Russell Westbrook was never known as a jump shooter. Russell Westbrook was this extremely athletic point guard who would drive in the paint and dunk on whoever was there and would play his butt off every night in and night out. And people can say what they want about the triple-double seasons. That doesn't happen. You don't average a triple-double for 4 years. That's just not normal to do. So I think Westbrook's a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, I think people are going to start to remember him for his time with the Lakers compared to, when he was with the Thunder. And even, the Wizards he had a good year with.
Yep. I hope that these years with the Lakers don't tarnish Russell Westbrook's career, because
I agree.
He's really he had a fantastic career as a basketball player. He belongs in the Hall.
Yep.
I hope it doesn't kill it.
Top 75 player.
Yep. He averaged a triple-double in back-to-back seasons. The first time was unheard of. Then he did it again.
And then again, and then again.
Yeah, this guy, sure, he sucks now. Beyond sucks now. But, he's a generational talent of a player, and it belongs in the Hall. And I hope this doesn't keep him out, but, I don't care. This team sucks. He's part of the reason it sucks. As good of a career as he's had, I still can't. At least right now, none of that matters. Yep. Because right now, he's horrible. And it's derailing this team. And it's so unbearable. Because, he shouldn't even be here. That's the thing. He shouldn't be a Laker. DeMar DeRozan should be a Laker.
And Buddy Hield.
Should
Miles
be a Laker.
Turner.
Maybe not Miles Turner, but Alex Caruso. I would love to have Miles Turner. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't think that was super, super big of a thing. But Alex Caruso should be a Laker. All of these guys that we don't have, that we could have, are gone because we decided to pay Russ. We traded for Russ and then gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, and so I think what the Lakers should do is remember, or at least look back on that 2020 team that won them the title. If you look at that roster, it was Bron, AD, but then they had depth. We talked about it last night. He had JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and then when LeBron would come off the floor, there wasn't a better floor manager than Rondo.
Yep.
Rondo off the bench, and was Schroeder on? No, Schroeder came the year after, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had KCP, Caruso. That was a good team, and now almost all of those players are gone.
Every single one of them.
Yep. So, yeah, and especially in today's league, you got to have three-point shooters.
Yep, and the Lakers don't have a single one. Austin Reeves is the closest thing they have to a three-point shooter, and he's not even that good at it.
I think Pat Bev has the highest three-point percentage, and that's not saying
if Pat Bev is your best three-point shooter, your team is horrible. I love Patrick Beverley.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great player to have on a good team.
Plays his butt off.
Unfortunately, the Lakers are not a good team, and so Patrick Beverley can't. He's not as valuable on a team that sucks. Because really, when you have four guys around him that can't do anything, what's the point of having a guy like Patrick Beverley? He's a great supporting piece on a good team. The Lakers are bad.
Yep.
So now Patrick Beverley is trying to be in a position where he has to be good. And he's not a scorer. He's not an offensive guy. He's a great defensive player. Mm-hmm. But if you have him on offense, he's kind of useless.
Yeah, and then looking ahead to their schedule, they do not have an easy schedule. They got, next they got the Timberwolves. They got the Nuggets again soon. And then I think they got the Pelicans, the Jazz, the Clippers. They're 0-4 already. The they're going to have a really bad record, like, unless they make a quick change and just find something that works. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
Do you think there's any chance this team even makes the play-in games?
So the play-in games, I think because they could be a 10th seed and make the play-in tournament.
Yeah, do you even think they'll be that good? Because I'm not sure they will.
Yeah, I think because at the end of the day, like, they got the star power with LeBron and AD.
Yeah, but AD's already hurt.
Yeah. And
AD's played 4 games and he's already has a back injury.
Yeah, and LeBron has become kind of injury prone over the last few years, which is, he's in his 20th season, whatever. We can understand that, but I think they can make the play-in tournament. What they need to do is, before the trade deadline, just do something. They got Schroeder back, so
do literally anything to get a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Anything. I don't care what. You can sell your soul. Just get a 3-point shooter.
Yep.
One of them. 2 of them. That would be awesome if they got 2 guys who can actually shoot from more than 10 feet away. Right now, they're horrible. I have said it a lot of times. They are so frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
It's just, there's nothing entertaining about the way this team plays basketball. Really, there is nothing. Occasionally, LeBron makes a good pass. That's about it. I still think he's one of the best passers in the league. Absolutely.
His IQ for the game is...
He's the smartest player in the league. I think that's probably a safe thing to say.
Yep.
But what does that matter when you get blown out every single game?
Yeah, and you know who else they had on that bubble team? Danny Green was like their kind of spot-up 3-point shooter, right? I think in looking back on LeBron's teams, he's always kind of had that one shooter. Okay, Danny Green, Ray Allen with the Heat, Kyle Korver on his second go-around with Cleveland. And on this team, there's...
Lonnie Walker? That who you really want to have your guy be?
Or, like I said, if we're going off a 3-point percentage, Patrick Beverley leads his team in 3-point shooting, which, I don't know. They got to do something. You're 0-4 already, and it's not looking to be trending in the right direction. So, yeah, they got problems.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. There are 2 players with the most 3 points attempted a game. LeBron, who's shooting 8.8. 8.8. Why? He's hitting 25% of them, and he's shooting 8.8. Almost 9 a game, and he can't even hit like a third. He's barely hitting a quarter. Stop it. Please. Please, LeBron. Just stop.
The only argument I would have there is because he doesn't have the energy like he used to drive in the paint and get fouled anymore.
Okay, well, you can still pass.
He's not a good free throw shooter either.
No, he's not, but he can still pass.
Yeah. To who?
Anyone.
No one's going to make a...
Well, then don't shoot threes if you can't make them. It's unreal. Lonnie Walker's shooting the second most, and he's shooting 17%. Like, what are they doing? I can't. I need to stop.
Yeah.
I need to stop.
I know, because, last night's game, they were tied at the half. And then all of a sudden, we look up, they're down 20.
Uh-huh.
And Jokic is quietly just dropping a triple-double.
Yeah.
Making crazy passes, too. Just making it look so effortless.
He's nuts.
Yeah.
He's what LeBron wishes he was at this point.
Yeah, he's the fantasy basketball GOAT.
Facts. You know another team that sucks?
Who?
The Nets of Brooklyn. The main issue, it seems, is Ben Simmons. Do you think it will ever work with him? Just ever?
It's not off to a good start, right? We heard Kyrie in the game last night yelling, "Shoot it, Ben, shoot it!" But I think so. Yeah, obviously we see he's not off to a good start at all. In tonight's game, I don't know if you saw it, he airballed a layup.
I did.
I feel like his confidence is just so bruised. That's
the biggest thing for him. Because honestly, I don't know how to fix it if you're Ben Simmons. The only thing I can think of is literally retire from the NBA for a year, spend a year playing in the Euro League, and then hope you can get it back doing that. Because right now, he's not going to find it playing in the NBA.
Yeah, the only thing with him, that we can say is he did have a whole year off from the game, so I don't know, maybe he's still shaking off the rust a little bit, but if we're just taking this small sample size of the game so far, he's not. I mean, he's averaging 5 points a game, which, like, even before, like, he came to the Nets and everything, he was never really known as a scorer, right? Like, he was a great passer, a good defender, and I think that's the Ben Simmons that they wanted in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and they haven't even got that.
They haven't even got that.
He's a decent passer, but he hasn't been as good of a passer as they've looked for. And, I mean, he has 3 more fouls tonight. Like, he's been horrible defensively. Horrible. Like, he's bringing absolutely nothing to this team. It's almost funny to watch. Like, you feel bad for him, obviously, but, like, man, what's going on there? I can't explain it.
And it seems like the moment where it all went downhill was in the Eastern Conference Finals when he was with Philly, when he passed up a dunk.
A dunk with no one around him.
Not even a dunk. That was a dunk, right?
Right under the basket. It was the easiest. It would have been the easiest 2 points of his career.
Yep. And I think from that point is when he took all the heat from the media, and I remember even Doc Rivers said something about it. I forget exactly what he said, but like it just seems like his confidence just isn't there. The aggression for the game is just not there with him. But he's not like a natural scorer, but you got to give him something.
He can score inside. He's big enough and he plays against guards. He should be able to score inside.
Yeah, but you're averaging 5 points a game.
Yeah.
Right now.
Five. At least get me 10. At least get me 10.
Gotta get to double digits. Yeah, right.
Draymond Green averages more points than you.
Yeah, Mr. Triple Single. But yeah, Draymond can do that and get away with it because, But
Ben Simmons is supposed to be a lankier Draymond Green. That's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to great defense, great passer. Draymond's more of an enforcer than he is, but they're play style wise, at least in terms of what they do for the team, is very similar. And Draymond's averaging 9.5. At least give me that, Ben.
Yep.
At least.
I don't know, but we'll see. I'm obviously a very young season so far, and he did take a whole year off. So can he turn it around? Sure he can, but we're not off to the best start whatsoever.
No, I'd say we're off to the worst start whatsoever.
Yeah. And, speaking of the team that the Nets faced against, who I think the Milwaukee Bucks have the MVP of the league so far, Giannis, would you agree with that, or is there someone else taking that?
As good as Giannis is, and as much as I love that guy, it's hard to go against him. I will preface this. But my boy John Morant has been unreal. You can't deny just how good he has been so far this year. He's dropping 34 a game. They're 3-1. And it's like, he's really the best. Memphis has a good team around him, but Ja is head and shoulders the best player on that team. And they have looked fantastic, and he's been the reason why. So, it's hard for me to say no Giannis. And really, that's the right choice. It is. The way he's played so far this year, that's who it should be. I just love Ja too much, and he's been too good for me to say anyone else.
He is. Ja Morant is insane. Just watching him play he's one of the most fun players to watch in the league, right? And 35 of course, right. The season is very young, but 35 a game, and the scoring has been nuts.
Oh yeah. We watched it yesterday. It was unreal.
Jason Tatum is averaging 32.5 points, and he's tied for 4th in the league.
That's silly.
But I love Ja Morant, but Giannis is, to me, head and shoulders the best player in the league. He's averaging 36, 13, and 5. And his field goal percentage...
And 2 blocks.
His field goal percentage is 67.7. And
40% from 3, too.
He's... this guy, he does it all. And we saw him specifically dominate the Nets last night, which has become a recurring theme in his career for him. But and they're 3-0, and that's without Chris Middleton. So, I mean, Giannis is that's the best player in the game. And if MVP voting closed right now, it's got to be him.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. I'll acknowledge you're right. I like Ja too much to go against him because, in all fairness, Ja's still been really good.
Great.
He's great. He's been great. I mean, he might even be the runner-up right now. Yeah. Like I like him too much to say anything else. That's all that is for me.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing it year after year. He's just improving, and he's only 23 years old, which is like scary because this guy's jumping out of the gym, and he's even getting his assists up this year.
Shooting 60% from 3 too.
Yeah, and
it's not like he's not taking a whole lot of them. 5 attempts a game. Like he's hucking them up there and he's hitting them.
Yeah, the Lakers could use him.
They really could.
Imagine that. Oh man,
imagine
the lobs from Bron to him.
He would send that back to the Staples Center.
Yeah.
He would rip the roof off that place, honestly. If the Lakers can somehow make a deal with the devil to get John Morant to L.A., I don't care what it takes. Just let it happen, please.
Would you trade?
Yes. I don't care what you're going to say. Yes.
LeBron?
Yes.
For John Morant?
Without even thinking. Yes.
Wouldn't that be that would be nuts.
I pray for the day that we trade LeBron for John Morant.
And then you'll have Ja and Russell Westbrook on the same team. Oh boy. Which that's John Morant is almost like
he is basically a young Russ.
Yeah.
He's a young Russ who shoots a little better.
Yep. Yeah, the athleticism is very similar.
It's almost identical.
It is. But yeah, it's this NBA season. I think we're in for a good season. A lot of question marks so far, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are certainly looking forward to the NBA. Another thing we are looking forward to is some football, which we will have on the other side of our first break of the night. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here so far, and very soon, very shortly, we will be back for some NFL. So thank you all for joining us. We'll be back soon. And thank you all for joining us here tonight as we are on for the second half of the victory lap here. I am James Boss, joined alongside me is Shane Tinney. Had a whole bunch of basketball going in the first half. Now we're going to be on to some football here. And to kick off this football discussion, my Jaguars played your New York Giants. And I'm just going to start this by saying I don't like you right now. That was a hard thing for me to watch. What do you mean, why not?
What? You dropped to 2-5 now?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's tough. Honestly, it's mean. That's all it is. We lost by a yard. A single yard.
One yard when it shouldn't have even gotten to that point with the blown calls on that last drive was ridiculous.
There were some awful ones. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he looked okay the entire game, but that last drive was just a roller coaster of emotions.
It was.
He threw one of the worst interceptions I have ever seen that got negated by a penalty.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't even that was the hands of the face one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Like, at all. There was that one, and then I remember Kayvon Thibodeau was getting held coming around the corner. Nope, no call either. And all of a sudden I'm looking up, I'm like, oh my, like they might lose this game because of these calls or lack thereof.
I will say he had an incredible play. That one, the roughing the passer, because that was a real roughing the passer, and he eats a massive hit.
Yep. And
then throws a dart downfield. I want to say Kirk was the one who caught that. I might be mistaken, but
that they stopped on the goal line?
No. Before that. Set that one up. It's one of the best throws that I've seen Lawrence make ever, and great job there. I wish you did that a few other times at all, because oh my God. they could have won that game.
Yeah, no, Trevor is a gamer. He's good.
He's solid. He hasn't really wowed me a whole lot yet, but he's solid.
Yeah, he just can't beat the
legend.
Defense.
He can't beat the legend. Is what he can't. He can't outduel Danny Dimes.
No, Danny Dimes had, I think, one of the best games of his career.
You could say the best game of his career.
I mean, right? 202 passing, 107 rushing yards, which is a career high, and we had Barkley had his usually 100-yard game. That's another day at the office for him at this point. What a game that was, and the stress that was building on that last play, and then when Christian Kirk caught the ball at the goal line, and the defense just swarmed to him, specifically Julian Love and I think it was Xavier McKinney. And then we loved his offensive lineman. Just tried to shove him into the end zone, but nope. That was what a game. What a goal line stand.
My heart. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't burst on that single play. I saw he made the pass, and I was like, "Oh, it's a touchdown!
Yeah,
they're gonna do it." And then he got tackled by 3 guys, and I was like, "Oh, it's shy." And then there was a little late push. I was like, "Oh, they're gonna get it." And then he was down, and I held out hope that maybe on the initial push to the end zone that he got it. No, he was half a yard short. Half a yard short. That hurt every single part of me because I wanted that so bad. There was nothing I wanted more than to come in here and be able to gloat that the Jaguars beat the Giants, because I was telling you for the last, I don't know how many weeks it had been, that you shouldn't be sleeping on the Jags when you were looking at this upcoming Giants schedule. And it
was close.
It was close. They were a yard away. They were a yard away from victory.
Shouldn't have been, but it ended up being close.
Yeah, it was. You know who's really good?
Who?
Travis Etienne. The guy's a monster. He is so good at football. Like, I love James Robinson. The guy was great. Great at what he was. But Travis Etienne is that dude. He is going to be one of the best running backs in the NFL by the end of the year, honestly. He is just that talented. I mean, you watched him play.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, he's been doing this for the last few weeks now that he's been the actual starter. They're going to open this up for him, and I know that you have been laughing me out of the building all year, but I do think that the Jaguars, with Etienne as their main focal point on offense, can turn into a legitimate football team. I don't think they're that far off from being at least solid, and if they can figure out a way to just design this entire playbook around Etienne, they can be golden.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Kirk's a solid wide receiver.
He's not bad.
And Trevor Lawrence shows flashes.
The offense has pieces. It's not perfect. They need more receivers. I like Kirk. Kirk's not a 1. Kirk's a 2.
Yep.
But they have their running back, and granted, running backs don't have a very long shelf life, but Etienne is good. And if they can just get a couple guys around Lawrence, that's all they need, because really they have probably a 5-year window with Etienne now.
Yeah.
And it just opened last weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. And Christian Kirk would be a 1 if he played for the Giants as far as wide receivers, which their wide receiver room just got smaller today as we traded Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs for a 2023 third and a 6th round pick, which Kadarius Toney and I have the same amount of receiving yards this year. So, I mean, this is like no loss at all. Like, I remember, like, last year he would have games where he would show flashes, and even coming into this season, it was going to be kind of, okay, we'll see what Toney could do this year. But he barely saw the field this year.
I will say, I love this move for Kansas City. Love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a feeling.
Obviously, Kadarius Toney has not been very good this year. He hasn't played this year.
He hasn't played.
But if there is anybody who can make a receiver work, it's Andy Reid. And he's got the best guy in all of football throwing the ball to him. So, like,
yep.
If there's a place for Kadarius Toney to shine, it's in KC.
I agree. I thought of that too when he got traded. I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be a situation where he's gonna just have a breakout season because he got Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball, which, I mean, could happen. He's got speed. I think his 40 was like 4.3 something. So
obviously he's no Tyreek, but they could use him like their new Tyreek.
Yeah.
I mean, MVS has been their guy there, but he's not very good. He can't catch. I watched him play a lot of football. He has no hands. Kadarius Toney has some hands. He's got enough. He's better than MVS, I can tell you that much.
Yep.
I love the move for Kansas City. Love it so much. I think it very well. I mean, I already picked up Kadarius Toney in fantasy.
I thought about doing the same.
He's going to pop off. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I would say this was like a pretty even trade for both sides. I mean, we traded him for, we weren't using him at all. And we got two draft picks that are next year. It's not like they're like in years to come from now. I guess we'll take that. I kind of hope they pursue a wide receiver before the deadline to give Danny Dimes someone to throw to. But yeah, no, that was an okay trade for us.
I think I will say the guy that I had to pick that I had to replace with Kadarius Toney for, Jamar Chase. The Bengals finally looked good last week. Joe Burrow had over 500 total yards.
Yep.
Jamar Chase had 2 touchdowns. Now Jamar Chase is injured, and he's going to be out for a while.
4 to 6 weeks.
Our initial question was, are the Bengals back? I'm changing it now to, will they survive losing Jamar? Do you think they can?
I think they can because, obviously, Jamar Chase is the guy for them, right? But this year, we've seen T. Higgins and even Tyler Boyd. Last week, he had, I think, 155 yards. And I think Joe Burrow is good enough to kind of, adapt, obviously, Jamar Chase. You're really not replacing him. But Joe Burrow is really good. They started 0-2, but since that, they've gone 4-1. And I think he's going to find ways to win games. And then coming up, they have the Browns, the Panthers, and the Steelers. So I think they're in a position to have, a few easy weeks coming up.
I think the Steelers could be an interesting one because TJ Watt did just start practicing again, and if he's back for that game, they're in trouble.
True.
But I am really interested to see how this plays out for him because the Bengals figured out, I don't know why it took them so long, but they figured out to become a pass-first offense. They weren't those first 2 weeks when they lost both games.
Yep.
But these last few weeks, they've decided we're just going to throw the ball every single time, and you're going to have to try and stop us.
Yep.
And it worked to perfection. I have no idea if they're going to be able to continue to do this without Jamar Chase because the Bengals still have 2 really good receivers. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are very good.
Yep.
But I'm interested to see if they're going to be as good when they don't have the luxury of 2 DBs being on Jamar Chase every single play.
Mm-hmm.
So defenses aren't going to have to key in on one guy, leaving them more opportunities. They're going to have to go against better corners. And I don't know if it's going to work for him. I think it still can. I think it still probably will because, like you said, Joe Burrow is that dude.
Yeah, he is.
He is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Easy.
And at the end of the day, he can make it work. I just don't know if I don't know how hard it's going to be for them to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, and did you know Joe Burrow took home a very special award last week? Do you know what it was?
What award did he take home?
He was the Nickelodeon MVP of last week. I'm sure that's going right on the wall, right?
I would hang that first thing you see when you walk through the door.
Of course.
I honestly might have that on the front door.
Yeah.
I want everybody and their mother who even walks by, drives by, doesn't matter to know I'm the Nickelodeon MVP.
The Week 7 2022 Nickelodeon MVP. He's him. I'm sure it probably came with some slime too. What a prestigious award.
You open the envelope and you're getting slimed. It's just coming
as
right.
It should.
It's coming out the envelope.
Yeah. What an award. But yeah, 4 to 6 weeks is tough. Especially, we both have him on our fantasy team. I'm sure we both had the same reaction.
I didn't believe it. My dad texted me and I didn't believe it because I didn't get the Shefty notification yet.
I did. I remember. Well, I went on Twitter and it was the first thing on my feed. It was a picture of Jamar Chase with 4 to 6 weeks in it, and that's kind of all I needed to know.
I think the first word out of my mouth is something I'm not allowed to say on air.
Yes, as well. Yep, me too.
Yep. Moving on to another guy who is him. Dak Prescott made his return to the NFL. How'd he look?
He looked okay. I think and even that might. That's kind of being.
That's even being generous.
That's kind of being nice. I mean, you went against the Lions, who another one of your teams.
They are one of my teams.
Yeah. I mean, is it fair to say that they might have the worst defense in the league?
Yeah. I mean, they've objectively given up the most points in the league, so I think that's fair.
Right. So he passed for 207 and a touchdown. I mean, he looked okay. I think he did enough. I think it's going to be more of a test going forward to see how he does against better defenses, which is probably every other team. But he looked okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this one brief because there is one last thing, or there's a couple things after this. One of them I really want to get into, but I think Dak Prescott I think he's a bad quarterback. I said it before when Cooper Rush was playing. I'm going to say it again. I don't think Dak is good. I think what Dak does is he sucks in the first half and then balls out in the second half. And either his defense was good enough to keep him in the game, like it was this week because he was playing the Lions.
Their defense is phenomenal.
Their defense is very good. Their defense has been fantastic this year.
Zeke had a good game, too.
Zeke did have a good game. But either their defense is good enough to keep him in it, or Dak just digs himself too deep a hole and he starts statting his pats when he's just going against prevent defenses. He's horrible. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I know I meant that. I said what I meant. It was intentional. Everything I say is intentional. And I don't think Dak is good. I don't care if he's completing almost 80% of his passes. He's 3 for 9 on third down. Get it together. Like, he will always have a good completion percentage because he dink and daks. That's what he does. And who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because, I mean, sure, he won. He's playing the Lions and he scored 24 points. It took him 58 minutes to throw for a touchdown against a team that was allowing 34 points a game going into that.
Yep.
I don't think Dak is a good quarterback. I don't think maybe they shouldn't start Cooper Rush because he's probably not that good either.
Yeah.
But Dak isn't good, and they just gave him a lot of money, and he's still not going to be good.
Yeah, I think the whole Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott sweepstakes are over. Right? I mean, I think Cooper Rush had a chance when they played the Eagles. Like, I remember we talked about it on here. Like, if he goes out there and beats the undefeated Eagles, that's going to be a real conversation, but he got thrashed.
And then he looked horrible.
Yeah. But Dak, I don't know. He's got to do better. Like, the Lions was a very easy game for him to come back. Probably you couldn't ask for an easier matchup, right?
No, there's no easier matchup, and he didn't even look that good.
Yeah.
He barely threw for 200 yards. He's had one touchdown. The Lions are horrible. Do better. You know who else looks horrible? The Packers and the Bucks look very bad. Which team do you think is worse right now?
I think it is the Bucks. When we're looking at both of these teams, they're both 3-4, but the easy thing is for the Bucks, they just lost to the Steelers and the Panthers. Back-to-back games. And both of those teams have 2 wins. So one of their 2 wins was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers led by Tom Brady, right? So this is also the first time that Brady's been on a game under 500 in 2 decades. So, and I think it's even worse because the Buccaneers have guys. They have weapons. You got Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. The Packers, we talk about not really having much of a wide receiver core to work with, right? So the fact that the Buccaneers have guys around him and they are still look just to be at rock bottom after losing to those 2 teams, the Buccaneers are worse off. And Tom Brady, man, oh man. I mean, we're hearing about the obvious distractions off the field. But they look awful on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, the Buccaneers look to be more in shambles than the Packers right now, to me.
I understand what you're saying there, and I think for that exact reason, I think the Bucs are better off because really, I think they're just Tom Brady clicking from being a good team. I think that's really what it is because they have a solid defense, and They have the weapons on offense. I think Brady has been the issue for them so far because they just scored 3 points against the Panthers.
Three.
That's
the Panthers.
Yeah, they're terrible.
The rebuilding Panthers who just traded CMC.
Yeah, no, that's an embarrassing loss. More than an embarrassing loss. But the Packers are by far worse off. By far. They have no money.
Why do they have no money?
Because Aaron Rodgers.
Who has it all?
Aaron Rodgers has all the money. He stole all the money because he wanted to run Devontae out of town. For who knows why? Because when Devontae's out of town, he has no receivers. And when Aaron Rodgers has no receivers, he's bad. Everybody always says that Aaron Rodgers is able to throw guys open, and that's just that's a darn lie, is what it is. Because we're seeing it right now. Aaron Rodgers has no receivers, and what's happening? He's not throwing anybody open. Because even when Allen Lazard's open, he's not open.
Yep.
Because Sauce Gardner is goated. Different week. Don't care. The Packers are horrible right now. They are terrible. They just lost to the Commanders.
Yeah.
The Commanders. What are we doing? They almost lost to Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi took them to overtime, and then they lost to the Jets. They lost. They didn't just lose to the Jets. They got stomped by the Jets.
The Jets are no joke.
The Jets are no joke, but they got stomped by the Jets. And then they lost to the Commanders with Taylor Heineke. The Packers are dead. They're horrible. Their passing game is non-existent. And when the running game should be good, they have two good running backs. But when the passing game doesn't exist, the running game doesn't exist because defenses only have to defend the run. They're so bad. They're horrible. There's nothing fun to watch about this team. Their defense is good, but they can't force turnovers, so they're not even flashy enough to be entertaining to watch. It's so hard. It is so hard to even try and be a fan of this team because they look horrible, and it's all because of Aaron Rodgers. It's entirely because of Aaron Rodgers. He's the reason that their only good player on offense, well, at least their only good playmaker on offense, is gone. Devontae said, I don't want to be in Green Bay anymore. Aaron Rodgers is a mean man. I don't want to be here. Give me Derek Carr. If you have a player who is willingly choosing Derek Carr over you, you're doing something wrong.
Derek Carr's no scrub.
Derek Carr is a scrub.
Derek Carr's no scrub.
Yes, he is.
Who are you taking at this point in their career right now? Derek Carr or this Aaron Rodgers?
This Aaron Rodgers.
You don't mean that with a straight face.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I mean it with all of my heart.
Derek Carr can play.
Derek Carr stinks. Aaron Rodgers stinks as a human, but he's still a good quarterback. Aaron Rodgers just won an MVP last year. He won the MVP the last 2 years. I don't care. Aaron Rodgers is still a good quarterback. He just looks bad because he has no one to throw it to him. He's not as good as he used to be. Aaron Rodgers is still very good. Derek Carr is not very good. Derek Carr has never been very good. Aaron Rodgers, he's still solid. He just has nothing around him, and he only has nothing around him because he's a mean man.
The Packers did beat the Buccaneers earlier in the season, though.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs have a better chance of turning things around. I don't think the Packers have any hope at all.
The Bucs are, they're currently playing right now. They got the Ravens. They're up 10-3. So I think, the Bucs have an opportunity to turn it around because beating the Ravens would be that's a good win if they can pull that one out. And they're at home too. But I think these two teams being at the state that they are right now is not what we expected. Maybe.
I expected one of these two teams to be in this state. I didn't expect the Buccaneers. I thought the Bucs would be the best team in the NFC.
Because it's over for Brady.
He looks horrible.
The cliff that he was supposed to fall off of in 2016, that Max Kellerman, yeah, that might be happening now.
Yeah,
he was a little late, but it might.
He was. Yeah. He was off by like 4 years. Happens to the best of us. Max, we still love Iggy,
but we'll see. And then one last point with this, these are two of the best quarterbacks of all time, right? I think either one of them can turn it around. But if we're talking right now, today, we haven't seen these two teams look this bad.
No. Speaking of bad, we are going to debut our newest segment to this show, in which we will be honoring one player each week with the Russell Wilson LVP Award. Shane, who is your recipient of this fine honor?
Well, just to clarify, LVP that's our least valuable player of the week, right?
Yes.
And okay, so
it's named in honor of Russell Wilson, the man who does high knees in the airplane aisle while everybody is asleep on the plane. I would have paid so much money to be on that.
What a guy.
I would have loved to just see the people that were awake just watching him. I wonder what was going on.
I mean, there's got to be footage of that somewhere,
there's
right?
There's got to be.
And
I'd hope.
Yeah. But my Russell Wilson LVP award this week goes to none other than, I'm sorry, got to do it, to Mark Andrews. You dropped 0 yards on National Tight Ends Day and 2 targets. So, I mean, with that, there's not much to say. Like, you're the second best tight end in the league, to Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah.
And they still won the game, but you come out and drop 0. So with the level of talent that he has on his holiday, which I didn't even know National Tight Ends Day was a thing until that day. But yeah, my MVP award goes to Mark Andrews.
Mine goes to a man that we have spoken about earlier, and that is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. I just found out he was a junior, by the way.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I mean, I may think that his team has a better future than the Packers, but holy heck, was he horrible this weekend. You dropped 3 points against the Panthers? The Panthers, of all teams. The Panthers, the 1-5 Panthers that just decided that they suck so much they're going to trade Run CMC. What are you doing, Tom? What are you doing? There's no excuse for how bad he was. It was so embarrassing, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Oh. 3 points?
3 whole points. Count them. 1, 2, 3 in 4 quarters. 60 minutes against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good pick. That proves my point when we're talking Bucks versus Packers.
3 points.
3 points.
3. That's
what I'm saying. And the Panthers, obviously, they won 21-3. That's one of their 2 wins. Like, Tom, where are... Come back. Like, he retired and then unretired to come back and play to look like this?
Yeah.
No,
it's awful. It is awful. But you know what else is awful? The fact that we have to wrap up this show right here.
I agree.
Shane, it's been a pleasure doing this so far here tonight. I would like to thank everybody who joined us here on the listening programs, however you did it. But that is going to do us for us here tonight. We will be back same time next week. Thank you all for listening to us, and have a wonderful rest of your night.